Here we are with our third interview coming up, and I'm interviewing the one and only Beau Billingslea. And I'm so happy to have him on as a guest, and I was so honored to have him on as a guest. I didn't run out of questions this time, so you guys leave me some feedback and let me know how I did this round, please. Negative or positive feedback is fine either way. Just tell me how I did this round. All right. I guess I'll start with, how did you get into voice acting?
Um, Actually, I started dubbing foreign live action films in the 80s. A friend of mine, Doug Stone, was he was overseeing the dubbing. Like there'd be a German film and there'd be an African character. So I would be asked to voice the African character. And so I would go on and say, I'm doing this because of my father, you know. And so yeah, that's how I got started. But actually, it took me a while, but I had forgotten the memory. I had voiced a character in a puppet movie back when I very first started my career in 1969. So actually, I started voiceover very early, and I had forgotten about that. But yeah, so I voiced a coach in a puppet movie way back in 1969, and then in the 80s, I was voicing the African characters in the foreign live action films. And then Doug asked me, he said, "You want to do some anime?" And of course, I didn't know what it was. So I said, "What? Sure, but what's anime?" And so he explained it to me, and said, "Sure, I'll do that." And I started working over with Kevin Seymour at Magnitude 8 with Les Claypool and Mary Claypool and Utaka, and that's how I got started in the anime world. And then I had a couple of series on History Channel, Martin Marvels, and doing narration. And so yeah, that's pretty much the path of my doing this voiceover thing.
I was always wondering, who's your favorite character?
That I voiced,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, obviously it's Jet. You know, you have a close relationship to all of your characters, but voicing Jet Black has changed my life because of the wonderful fans in anime who love Cowboy Bebop, and listening to the wonderful stories everybody tells about how they got into it and how much they love it, and that they're introducing their nieces and their nephews and sometimes their children to it. So yeah, and I kind of relate to Jet because I have two children, a son and a daughter. My daughter's 3 years older than my son, and but as children do, they get into their shenanigans and this and that and this and that. And in a certain way, I think of Spike and Faye as my kids. Although we're closer in age, I guess they would be more like my niece and nephew, who are always getting in trouble and asking for help.
Oh yeah, I got into Cowboy Bebop when I was about maybe 12 years old. I seen it airing on Adult Swim and I was hooked right off.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, the Adult Swim was really good for us because it gave a wider audience to Cowboy Bebop, and it expanded anime into our culture. I think that Cowboy Bebop was partly responsible for that, having been put on that Adult Swim block on Cartoon Network, and then lo and behold, anime is part of the mainstream culture now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, I was always wondering, well, how did you feel about voicing Barrett from Final Fantasy VII?
Oh, I love voicing Barrett. He was a big bear of a man with a machine gun arm, and yeah, I really enjoyed him. I had a lot of fun doing him, and it was sad that they moved on. And John Bentley, I'm sure, is doing a great job. I thought of the character slightly differently. I thought of him more as, even though he was a big beefy guy, I thought of him more as also as an intelligent man. you know, that he was more than just a pile of muscle.
Yeah, that's how I feel like you gave him more personality than the other. I mean, the other guy is good. I'm not gonna lie, but I think your voice fits him more. It shows his more softer side.
Thank you for that, Tim. You know, I believe the same way, and but you know, it's just one of those things. You become connected to a character, and then when someone else starts voicing it, it's a very weird feeling. It's just like, no, he's mine. He's mine. You can't do that. He's mine.
Oh yeah, I was actually when I first saw the trailer. You probably remember. I was extremely upset. I'm like, oh, the voices are different. I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah, we did the first trailer for it. I mean, we had no idea we were going to be replaced, and so you know, it is what it is. You know, with Dynasty Warriors. I don't know if you're familiar with Dynasty Warriors. Um, I voice Kyle Ren, who became Sao Ren, and Dion Wei, two of the main characters, and I don't know, we did it for 6, 7, 8 years, and then they contacted us to say, oh, you know, check your schedule for recording next week, because we're going back in for an you know, another product, and then I never heard from them. And between that time and whatever, they decided they were going to replace all the voice actors. So we went from being all excited about recording to no, never mind. You know, it was kind of like with Final Fantasy the remake. So you know, it seems like the Japanese producers are more loyal to their voice actors than we are here. But you know, it is what it is. My life goes on. You know, you have a little disappointments in life, but that's no big deal. People have serious problems. So having been taken out of a project is not life threatening. So it's, you know, it is what it is.
It just stings a little, right?
It does. It does. As I say, you know, when I watched that trailer and I'm thinking, that's not me. That's not me. This somebody else voicing my guy.
I'm not gonna insult him, but he kind of sounded like he was doing Mr. T's voice. So, and I just felt like your version of the character, it gave him. I'm repeating myself. It just gave him more warmth and personality because. And I think another reason I was upset, you're gonna think it's silly. In the original game, Barrett cusses a lot, and I was kind of wanting to hear you cuss a lot.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to do that, but you know, you do what you have to do. You know, I mean, to get the job done, and you say the words that are written, and sometimes you can, you know, you can push back a little bit, but you can only do so much of that pushing back, and so you just say the words as written and move on.
That's true.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Pauly Shore in the Army now?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Paulie was fun. It's interesting that, you know, when I auditioned for that role, I don't know if you remember, what was the guy's name? Ross Perot. Do you remember that name, Ross Perot?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, he was either running for president or thinking about running for president. So I worked up a little imitation of him. And so I did my audition, and then I told him, I said, I'm gonna do a little something for you guys. So he said, okay, go ahead. And so that's when I did it. I said, my name is Ross Perot, and I'm running for president. And one of the reasons the people who are running for president shouldn't be president is because they don't have my ears. Now look around the room. Do you see anybody qualifying to run a country? You see anybody qualifying to run a country? And so they enjoyed that. So Paulie said, hey, okay, do it again. We're going to record it now. You know, do it again. We're going to record it. I said, okay, I did it again. And I guess he wanted to show, you know, the producers or whoever that aspect of my personality and of my talent. So and anyway, he said, yeah, that was instrumental in me getting cast in the part.
Personally, I thought it was a great part. Can you do the scene, the water scene? And okay,
All
I'll
right,
edit it together.
we're
Uh,
back.
can you do the water scene? The
Yeah, that was funny. For folks who don't necessarily know that we're distilling, we're cleansing the water so it'll be potable, meaning we can drink it. And so they've done their thing, and so I'm the water sergeant, and I come over and I taste the water, and so I said, okay, let me see this here. That's the best damn water I've ever tasted.
oh, that was a great line too.
Yeah, it was. That was fun. That was fun doing that little part in there.
There was a funny thing about it too. When I was watching it with my family, my parents, when your character comes on the screen, I said, when you were doing the narrating, I was like, I know that voice, I know that voice, and my mom's like, okay, well, that's good. And then I'm like, then when you showed up on screen, I'm like, oh, it's Beau Billingslea, I know him.
Oh, that's really cool. So you have a good ear for voices.
Yeah, I do. I can hear a voice, and I'm like, well, oh, I know who that is. The only time your voice fooled me was when I was watching Bleach and you played Eterod Leonis.
Oh,
I could not tell that was you.
is that right? Yeah, I got you.
What was it like recording in Halloween H2O?
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Because we just did the first scene, the setup, and yeah, I was very pleased to join that franchise. There are certain franchises that you just love to be a part of, and Halloween is one of them. And so I did Halloween H2O, and of course Star Trek is another. So I'm very proud to be part of those two families.
Yeah, I think I have all of Star Trek continues. So
Oh, do you really? Yeah, yeah. I
yeah, I
did
got.
Star Trek Continues, and I also did the Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, I have the whole. I thought the whole casting for that was just wonderful.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was pretty exciting, and J.J. Abrams is really a great director to work for from an actor's point of view, because he's very specific in his thought as to what he wants, and he's also good at communicating it. There's the two aspects to being a director. You have to have a vision of what you want, and you also have to try to be able to have the language skills to communicate that to the actors. And it's and I run into directors both on camera and in voiceover where they're not really uh, able to necessarily communicate what they want, and so you're trying to figure out. I think I know what you mean. I'm not sure what I know what you mean, and so when you have a director like JJ who's very specific and very good with communicating his thought, it's a real blessing from the standpoint of the actor.
I do. I have often wondered, do you have a character that you didn't like playing? Like he was very strenuous on your voice.
Oh, well, I would say I did a Wallace session uh, for where I voiced the orcs, World of Warcraft, and the orcs they don't want anything that sounds like a human sound, so you have to sound very animalistic, that type of thing, and the almost kind of like a Klingon, I guess. But we did that. We were on the sound stage. I mean, on the ADR stage for hours, and it was very taxing on the voice, because there would be seas and thousands and thousands and thousands of the orcs, and so what we had to keep doing pass after pass after pass to get that concept of that number, with the sound that we're making. And I think there were like 10 actors, maybe 8 actors. Um, and we were taking turns, but even with that, it was very taxing on the voice when you're doing hours and hours and hours of it. And because of the consequence of that is the next day, for the next couple of days, you don't necessarily sound like yourself because your voice is so rough and strafed, and so it's that was one of the issues when we were negotiating our new contract years ago, that the producers didn't seem to understand that it's not just working those 4 or 8 hours or whatever we're working. It has its consequence. So if you're down for 2 or 3 days after a gig, that's like a 3-day gig, because you can't audition if you don't sound like yourself, because your voice is so roughened up. Because then you'd have trouble if you booked it. Then you'd have trouble trying to reproduce that voice, because your voice, after your vocal bands heal, then you're back to your regular voice. But yeah, it wasn't that I hated it, but it was very stressful on the voice. And a couple of guys one guy got a nosebleed.
Ooh.
So it's if you're doing it like with anime, it isn't so bad because you're not doing that screaming for hours and hours and hours as a rule. Yeah, you do the fight passes and then you move on. But it's not like you're growling and screaming down in your bowels for 4 hours, and so you come out and your voice sounds like that.
Do you prefer voice acting or live action?
Well, I like them both. I can't say that I prefer one over the other, although I must say that I gotta turn this down because this is getting annoying. People are
Oh,
texting me, you know.
I was one of the people, so
Oh, were you? Okay.
I was like, I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go. Well, where are you? Yeah, I like both. One of the nice things about voice acting is you don't have to memorize a lot of long passages. There's a certain amount of memorization that goes on in voice work that people don't really think about. But you have you can't just be reading the page, because otherwise you're not going to be able to match the flaps. So you got to look up and look down. So what you try to do is that you catch a large bit of the dialogue, then you look up and you deliver it. And then so it's a look down, look up, and you grab a bunch of the dialogue. And so you're actually memorizing because you have to match the flaps. Because you can't have your head down and say the line, because you can't see what's going on. So there is that angle of memorization when you're doing voice work. Because a lot of people who are not actually in the business might not understand that that's what we're doing. We're not just reading. I remember when I was doing my first series on History Channel, I told them that I wanted the script beforehand so I could go over it, and we go in and we'd have a lot of fun in the studio. And one of the producers said, "You're just reading." So I said, "No, it's more than reading. I'm telling a story, and as a storyteller, I need to know where it's going, and I have to know what the ending is like." So and I told him, I said, "Well, your studio time costs money, and if I can do it quicker, faster, and better if I have a chance to read the script over." And so, I mean, they went with me, and it worked out fine. They would mail the script to me. That was a while back when you're talking about mail, right? They would
Mm-hmm.
mail they would mail the script to me, and I'd have a chance to go over it. And then when we went in the booth, nobody was nervous about time or anything. We can crack jokes, have some fun, and get the job done. But yeah, on camera is nice. I love on camera too, because you can, you're using your entire instrument to help communicate your bit of the story. So, and the other thing too is when you're on the set, you're meeting and interacting with a lot of people, and that's one of the aspects of the business that I love. That interacting with people. with the voice work, even before COVID, there's just a limited amount of people you interact with, especially with anime, because you're in the booth alone. You're not with anybody, and so it's just you go in the booth, you take your turn, and when you finish, somebody else goes in, they take their turn. So from that standpoint, I really enjoy on camera. I just did a national commercial last week, and I don't know, it was about 60 people on the set, and the advertising agency and the client and all the producers and it was just wonderful to be back on the set with a bunch of folks. Show business is about people. Life's about people, and so it's really cool to be able to be back on the set and involved with the whole filmmaking process, which has always been exciting to me.
What did you think of the series Black Heaven?
Oh, Black Heaven was a lot of fun. That was awesome. I'm surprised for some reason it didn't get the audience that we would like, but yeah, saving the universe with my music, being a rock musician, that was awesome. I really, really, really enjoyed voicing OG. Oh yeah, OG was my character, right?
I don't know if you remember this, but you actually signed my Black Heaven set a few
Oh,
years
I
back.
did. Where were we? Where was that?
I sent it to you.
Oh, you sent it to me. Okay.
You were like, "Yeah, I'll sign it." It's like, I'm so excited that you bought the series.
Yeah, because very rarely does Legend of Black Heaven come up, But
And
yeah, it was a cool show. I really enjoyed voicing the OG.
I also sent this to you at the same time.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome.
So, yeah, like I said, I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that stuff.
That's neat, though. I mean, without the fans, we got nothing,
What was it like voicing Ogremon from Digimon?
Oh, I loved Ogremon. He was, yeah, here's my little guy. He was my little guy. My little green guy with the horns on his shoulders. Yeah, there's a little story I tell that after, we'd finished a session there at Saban, and who was directing,
I think Jeff Nimoy.
Yeah, Jeff was directing, right? And I came out, and Jeff said, "Have you ever done children's Walla?" And I said, "What? Children's Walla?" I said, "I never thought about doing it." He said, "Well, let's go and let's see if it'll work." And for you all out there who don't know what Walla is, like the background. If there's a bunch of kids in the background behind the main players and they're talking and all of that, that's the Walla. So anyway, so I had just finished growling with Ogremon and doing this and doing that and doing that. And then I get in and I say, "Okay, hey, where's everybody? Everybody, where's all the kids? Everybody got free candy and I didn't get any free candy. I want free candy too." And he said, "Hey, okay, it works. Let's do this." And so a lot of the kids don't realize that Ogremon was also voicing some of the kids.
What is your favorite line you've ever spoken in a series? I can tell you mine if it helps.
Yeah, what is it?
Mine is an Outlaw Star. A boy has the right to dream.
Oh yeah. That monologue was so wonderfully written. A boy has the right to dream is a wonderful piece, and that's probably one of my favorites. I like Bell Peppers and Beef because because everybody else loves it. All the fans just love it. When I'm at conventions, they want me to say something. I say, "Hey, Spike, time to eat." "Okay, Jet, what are we having?" "Bell Peppers and Beef."
There's no beef in here.
There's no beef in here. "Well, that's Bell Peppers and Beef sans the beef." And they say, we had that yesterday. No, yesterday we had beef and bell peppers. Today we're having bell peppers and beef. But yeah, the monologue from Outlaw Star is pretty special, and apparently it's had a very positive effect on a lot of young people. So I'm very proud of that.
I actually read it as my graduation speech when I was in high school.
Oh, really? Awesome. Awesome. Good choice.
Anyway, I do appreciate you coming on and actually letting me interview you. I mean, it's been really awesome.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Tam. You're a great guy, man. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, you're great too. I do have one more
Okay.
actually. I actually wrote it down this time so that way. See if I can find it. Was there a role you ever wanted but you didn't get? Like you auditioned for it, and you didn't get the role.
Well, there are a lot of roles I auditioned for and wanted and didn't get, but there was a role on a show called Saint Elsewhere as a doctor back in the day, back in the '80s, and it came down to me and two other guys, and one of the other guys was Denzel Washington, and he got it. And the rest is history. Good for you, Denzel. Go, Denzel, right? But no, I've been very pleased and very lucky and blessed in my career. No matter how successful you are, you also have a lot of rejection, and it's something that it's just part of the show business deal. That you get rejected and you keep on keeping on. But I've had some wonderful shows. Like one of my favorite shows that I did was on Nickelodeon called Just Jordan. I don't know if you were ever aware of that. That was in 2000. Let me see. We shot it 2006, 2007. So it aired 2007, 2008. And I played a grandpa who ran a diner and lived upstairs over the diner. And my newly divorced daughter comes to live with me with her two kids and my grandkids. And then we had capers and in and out of the diner. And it was just a lot of fun. And my granddaughter, who did a lot of extra work on it. And so that was a very special experience. Whenever you can work with your family, it's wonderful. And the last show, the first season, the writers wrote this beautiful food fight in the diner. And so my granddaughter was working that day. And my daughter worked because one of the adults didn't show up. So my daughter also worked. And so we were doing this scene and my granddaughter looked at my daughter and said, "Mommy, I just love this." And then she grabs a handful of cake and smushes it into my face, and then gets a cooler of Kool-Aid and pours it on my head. And so that was working with your family is just the absolute best. So that was a very wonderful experience of doing just Jordan.
Well, it sounds like it was great too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We were very sad when it was canceled. There was this new show called iCarly that they got put all their energy behind, and they just decided just to get rid of us. Unfortunately, but we had two good years, so it was nice.
Like I said, thank everyone. This is Beau Bilingslea.
It was nice being with you, everybody. Stay safe and stay happy.
All right, thank you.
All right, my friend.
Hello. It is I, George Newbern, as Sephiroth, to tell you all the best way to get into the Promised Land is to like and subscribe to Tim's YouTube channel for more awesome content. See you there. Or get on your knees and beg for forgiveness.